Hi, Jeremy Cook here, and today I'm going to be going over my LED flower arrangement. Looks really beautiful. It's got sets of WS2812B LEDs. It's powered by a Wemos D1 mini board. Kind of like a circuit sculpture, you can bend things into place, and they look just beautiful blinking away. Each of these little LED modules are made out of 6 small PCBs that are soldered together to form a cube. The first step, of course, was designing on a KiCad. On the right, you've got kind of like a carrier board for WS2812B LED. It's got inputs and outputs. And then on the left, you've got a header arrangement that'll give you the grounds plus 5 volts, digital input and digital output. So it can take the signal in and pass it out, as well as the ground and 5 volts to the next LED module in sequence. So I got these PCBs back from PCBWay, and they have castellated holes, supposedly. So a bunch of tiny little PCBs. Idea is that I'll put the connector in from the bottom. And these are side PCBs that I'll put the WS2812B LEDs on. Look really nice and green. There's a little castellation test in a more traditional roll. You've got the castellations here, and they're soldered onto a base PCB. In this case, it was just a perf board that I had from something or other. Pretty cool. One interesting thing though, when I tried to solder it on these edge pads, these through holes, all the solder kept kind of coming through. So that's something you kind of gotta worry about, gotta think about when you're doing this. That's how you usually use it. I'm gonna make it to make these stand on their edge. So this is the first one soldered up. I've got the inputs here, LEDs. I don't really have the outputs hooked up necessarily because I'm not quite sure about it, but we'll see if this works or not. So this took a little troubleshooting to even get to this point where I've got two lighting up, but I still need to figure out how to light the other ones up. So I guess I need to do a little more work on that. As cool as having a cube for this is, it is very hard to troubleshoot to see what's going on. So we'll see if I can get that all the way working. And here it is working with all 5 LEDs. And after quite a bit of work and trial and error, as well as filing some of the contacts, I've got 3 lighting up quite nicely under the strand test, I believe. There he goes. So all red, I think it'll go like green, and then maybe blue. Here we go. So that should work, should be able to throw this in, and then I've got 4 of these, which I think will be enough for my little flower arrangement, but we'll see. Don't they look beautiful? Just blinking away, looking nice. So I'm going to attempt to engrave this glass. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but basically I'm going to try to engrave from here down, kind of in a, kind of aligned with the circumference. So basically, as it goes over that way, it'll get lower, but hopefully that'll keep it somewhat aligned. So basically I'm going to try to make a slot in there so I can slide a dev board in there, a Wemos D1 Mini. We'll see how it works. Well, it seems to have made quite a mark in it. Whether or not that'll actually pop out, I don't know. Might be a little rough, but that's not really a big deal for my application. Just getting some clearance in there. Probably would have been a good idea to take more than one pass at this, but it does seem a bit weakened, so maybe I can knock it out, even if it's not cut so much. So I've got a hole in it, but you can see it's kind of, the crack's kind of propagating there. I'd say I'm not really comfortable with this because I think it's just going to break eventually. This test, maybe it just means I need to take a couple more passes at it, see what happens. This time I took 4 passes in it. I heard it pop when I did this. And you can see there's a big crack there. So yeah, the glass pretty much just disintegrates, but you can see here the rest of the glass is kind of breaking up. So after a rather poor attempt at doing this with a laser cutter, I decided to go ahead and buy these hole saws off of Amazon. They're like $13, so I don't know how well they'll work with this bottle. So nice hole here for a USB cable. Maybe I'll just drill it from the bottom and see what happens. Definitely making a circle. You know what, now that I think about it, I should probably be using gloves for this just in case something cracks, so I will be back. Ah! Look at that, I almost got it, and then it cracked that. It impairs your ability to operate machinery or something, so watch out for that. Since this broke off, I thought maybe I'd glue it back on and then I could like take the top off of this diamond bit thing. I don't know if this is gonna work or not. That worked a lot better than I thought it would, actually. So, cool. Maybe I should have tried that to begin with. Just noticed this bottle says 2019 on it. Such an innocent time. Now it's, what year is it even? 2022? Yeah. Well, maybe this is it for a while and it should be good. So wiring is pretty simple here to the Wemos D1 Mini. It's just 5 volts ground and D4, which is actually GPIO2 from the ESP8266. But as noted earlier, I used a diode here, which was due to this flashing that you see. Basically, there's a solution where the whole deal is that you're supposed to have 0.7 times VCC to signal it. The Wemos D1 Mini goes off 3.3 volts, so the logical conclusion is to use a level shifter to boost it up to 5 volts. While the other solution is that you can actually lower the voltage coming in to a lower voltage. So the diode drops that voltage down to about 4 volts, and all of a sudden that 3.3 volts is well within the operating range. This solution uses a sacrificial diode and then pumps it back up to 5 volts, but I figured that brightness doesn't really matter that much in this application, and instead I sacrificed a volt, a little bit of brightness for smooth functioning. The device is powered by the WLED firmware, which gives you a fantastic amount of options for controlling addressable LEDs. It gives you a web interface, and there's also an app that you can download, and you can make it do all kinds of effects, even have one installation follow the other. And there's even a web installer, which I did not use. I used a flasher that you install on your computer, but this looks like a fantastic way to do it. And the next time I do an install like this, I'm definitely going to try it. I'll put a link to this in the description. With that loaded up, it passes signals from one LED to another and from one module to another. Looks really beautiful. I'm really happy with how this turned out. In fact, to begin with, it was just an experiment with castellations. Really, really awesome. Really happy with how it turned out. And yeah, maybe it'll inspire you to make something similar. Of course, be safe when you're working with glass or electricity. And I'll leave you with the demonstration of what this setup can do. Thanks so much for watching. This is Jeremy Cook, signing off.